Well, I came back home for the summer holiday. It was time for a break from the city. Time for a good opportunity to see my folks, maybe fight with my brothers, and maybe drink a few with my friends. So I went down to the bar, Nicholson's Tavern, that is. I saw Bob and Red arguing about who could talk the most and who could talk the least. Bob was winning. And there I saw at the end of the bar was Emmons County's finest, Officer Dingle Putz. Well, there he was, tossing them back, having a grand old time. And by tossing them back, I mean throwing them against the wall when he was done. He was creating a nuisance because his dog had just died, his wife had left him for another woman, and his oil pan had fallen off while he was chasing deer in town. Well, I didn't want to stick around, so I went to see my friend Dob and his old wolfhound. They didn't get off the couch, seeing as they were eating bologna and watching Clint Eastwood movies. I didn't like bologna, so I went back up to the bar, and I went and I saw Kevin. He told me so. We got to talking about all the interesting things in town and all the interesting people. And then he said,
"We ain't got no McDonald's, just a cafe down the street. Well, you can't get a Big Mac or McNuggets or a snack wrap, just the last week's roast beef."
Well, there I sat, when all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, the peripheral vision, I saw a cloud of dust bigger than life going streaking past the town. We all went outside and saw David fighting Goliath. David had just choked him because Goliath had insulted his woodworking skills. I wouldn't say it was ugly, but it sure wasn't pretty. So I got some beer to go, drove around to listen to some local bands I had CDs of, all around town, in reverse. Little did I know more trouble was brewing. I almost ran into it too. There were old man Marlowe and Dell pointing fat fingers at each other, arguing about building better barns. I watched them for a little while, studying their habits, then all of a sudden they shook hands and borrowed each other's tools. It confused me, so I drove around town, out to where the green grass grows. That's where I met up with a couple of good guys. We built some models, we had a fire, and we fed a good dog cheeseburgers. Then we wondered whose dog it really was. And then we wondered where we got the cheeseburgers, because
we ain't got no McDonald's, just a cafe down the street. Well, you can't get a Big Mac or McNuggets or a snack wrap, just the last week's roast beef.
Well, the next day, I went north to play pool. 14 miles later, and I was drinking whiskey, playing a game against the lawnmower driving mayor. You know, he said he was the mayor, and I sure believed him because when he talked, everybody in that place listened. He told me I was a good sport for losing the game of slop, and he said I should stay and lose some more and not go to the Centennial that day. So what did I do? I got another whiskey to go and hightailed it back south. When I got there, it was noon, and nobody even remembered how to stand. We believe alcohol was involved. But that didn't matter much. The only thing that did matter was telling stories. Stories about driving. Stories about driving on the back road. Stories about butchering deer. Stories about walking all the way home from the bar in 5 minutes. We told stories about mountain lions and stories about bucks. Stories about run-ins with the law. We told stories all day. Some about Emerald Lagasse, about deployment. Told stories about volleyball in the summer, basketball in the winter. Then we talked about how.
ain't got no McDonald's, just a cafe down the street. Well, you can't get a Big Mac or McNuggets or a snack wrap, just last week's roast beef. We got plumbing and electricity and refined gasoline. To my amazement, just last night they even put up a new street light. But we ain't got no McDonald's, just a cafe down the street. Well, you can't get a Big Mac or McNuggets or a snack wrap, just last week's roast beef.